Hello? Poem?
Pretend all you want, Sammy, but sooner or later you have to face up to who you really are.
Do you want to know why we write poetry?
We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race, and the human race is filled with passion.
The only being that can teach you about poetry is poetry.
Medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for.
Do you want to know what poem says? Hey everybody, welcome to Poetic Philosophy, show number 55. It's all about summer today. Yes, we all like summer. Well, I think the majority of the people like summer. We have expressions like the lazy days of summer. It's pretty much the August, where we're probably lazy in August and in the summer because it's just too hot, and we look forward to the autumn, to the seasons change, to the colors. But summer has its beauty. Summer has its beauty too. And in this show I have a series of poems about summer, about the different aspects of summer. When you go through the seasons, see yourself reflected in the season. And see what nature is trying to tell you. Because nature is always speaking to us. But we're too busy to listen to nature. Maybe that's why summer is important. Because we have to slow down in summer. We have to enjoy sitting in front of our fans or our air conditioners or our air coolers, talking with family and friends, and just experiencing nature. But we forget to see or to hear what nature is trying to tell us. Because nature's, again, like I said, is always talking to us. This next poem, it's entitled, Why Do We Come? And I was inspired to write this by a piece Glenn Beck did on his show, his August 9th, 2022 show. And as I read this, ponder, why do we come? Why do we come to America, to move out west, to the moon, to Mars? Why do we come to Earth, to leave a place of light, to a place where there's darkness? This is the question that will give us truth. We always ask why, but we don't hear the answer. Why do you come? To risk our life, both physical and spiritual, to work hard, to have moments of sleeplessness? Why do you come? Listen to the answer. Let it lead you to the realization of truth. I wrote this next piece because my favorite season is autumn, and I do like the winter. But I had to make peace with summer. I wrote this quite a while ago, quite a few years ago. And I was trying to be at peace with summer. Trying to acclimate, to be a part of what summer is, what summer offers, what nature was trying to tell me. The title of the piece is Make Peace with Summer. How do I make peace with summer? I remember that time as a youth, traveling to different places, different times. I remember the swimming and the adventures, driving my bike to the lake or hiking in the woods behind the house I grew up in. I remember going to the White Mountains in Canada. I remember going to organ concerts, then to Dunkin' Donuts for a after-concert snack. I remember a lot of fun times growing up, innocent in my own world, as every child is innocent in their world. And I remember the night of the car accident and, of course, the other weird stuff that happened growing up. Now, I sit on my bed with the window open to get the cool summer night's air into my apartment. I listen to the children playing next door and, of course, grown-ups sitting around the campfire, probably talking. I suppose it's easier now than it was for me just a short while ago, where summer for me was hot, muggy, and poor. I didn't feel rich. Then going from a low-income job to low-income job, looking for some type of break, something from where I could start moving back up the ladder, or as the song says, to that place where I used to be. But Robert Frost was right when he said, that time will never come again. Yes, everything changes. No one can go back in time to walk in the same spot in life's river. Each of us can only move forward. I don't like the hot, muggy air. How can I make peace with summer? And I have made peace with summer. For the past couple years, I didn't have AC in my room. Not allowed to have AC in my room. I think for various reasons, but that's just the rules. We can have fans though, but fans just kind of move the hot, muggy air. Of course, this summer I decided, and I used to sleep in my car, because there's AC in there and I could actually get a good night's sleep, because I'm more comfortable sleeping when it's cooler. I think most people are. And so this year, because of the rise of gas prices, I can't do that, because while the gas doesn't go down much when I idle, it still goes down. And I drive to a different city to go to work. So, using my gas to go to work. And of course, I go up to the mountains. I love to go up to the mountains where I get inspiration from them. It's also cooler, too. But this year, I decided to acclimate to the hot. And so far, I have done that. Got a big box fan in the window. During the day, I turn the fan around so it pushes out the hot air. And I have one of those coolers that I paid $80 for that just blows cool air, and that's all it does. Fan's not too powerful in that, so I put a smaller fan in front of that, to blow on me, But fortunately, I work second shift, so usually when I'm working, I'm only here in the morning, and then I'm in the car, and then I sweat my A off at work. So, I don't know, I think I made peace with summer. This next poem I wrote this summer, and I wrote it on solstice, summer solstice, and it's entitled Summer Solstice. The earth honors both sides, the longest day and the longest night. We travel the good red road in darkness and in light. We learn from both faith, joy, meditation, and discernment. We choose the way to go based on what we want to become in the current moment. In darkness, we remember light. In light, we contemplate darkness. Each of us are the sun and the moon. Each teaches us to create, as the earth destroys and creates in the garden, the classroom of creation. So that's one thing that we used to celebrate the solstices, summer and winter. You know, summer we have the longest day and the shortest night. And in winter, we have the shortest day and the longest night. And when you contemplate on that, as I do, or I have done in the past, because nature is part of my poetry, and the mystic part of me and nature and the wonders of the universe. And it's called universe, meaning one verse. We do not have multiple verses. We have many places to go within this universe. And I also believe that this universe is alive, just like this earth is alive. This universe is one being. Now, are there many beings out there? Many universe beings? Yeah, I can see the possibility. But can we go from one universe to another? I doubt it. You know, people use the idea of multiverse when we make a decision. You know, a whole other universe creates, unfolds as we move this other path. But as the poet says, Robert Frost, in The Road Not Taken, there are two paths. And in the poem, he says, could only walk one. Would like to walk the other, but can only walk one. Can only walk one path. He even contemplates about coming back to that path, but you can't come back to that path, that choice. Because once you make the choice, you have chosen. You can change a choice and make another choice. But just because we make a choice doesn't mean a universe is created. Think about the mechanics of that. It's just crazy. And I think the universe is a lot simpler in its complexity. People just don't know how to think. This next poem I wrote a while back again. I'm not sure when I wrote this, but it was definitely quite a few years ago. It's entitled Warm Summer Night. And just listen to the poem, contemplate as I read the poem to you. What comes to your mind as I read this poem to you? Warm summer night. Warm summer night. Clock ticks away, ticking. New moon casts its shadow. Fans keep their rhythm. Thoughts take me inward, upward to a place familiar. Though I don't know, comfortable circles I must have come. Voices, not voices, speak to me of home. What is home? A place for hats to hang? People, spirit, soul? or thoughts, emotion. Huge building of many rooms, I've come for my lessons of life. Words fly around, dressed in fire, air, water. Sphere of light I stand, dance with fire, air, water, and gain experience. Dance the dance of life, know thoughts and emotion, learn the real, dance with others, know thoughts and emotion. See the unseen, know thoughts and emotion. Cycles, circle shapes, fly and play with air, fire, air, water. Create ideas. I wrote that poem. I remember when I wrote that poem, it was to a dream. I went to some type of classroom in my dreams. A huge building of many rooms. And everybody had their room in there. Could it have been Zion? Or could it have been something else? We probably won't know the answer in this physical life until we pass again into the afterlife. That's a weird word too, the afterlife. You have a life and an afterlife. But then after the afterlife, you have another afterlife, which is another life. You know, maybe we should try and come up with a different word. This next poem, again, I wrote it a little while ago. It was during this millennia. And again, listen to the words as I read them and just see what pops up in you. Because that's soul, your soul trying to tell you something. And these words are like keys to unlock what soul is trying to tell you. The title of this poem is Summer's Eve, To Find God. I travel these lonely streets, the copper lights lead me someplace, a place only they know, in time with the sound of silence playing on the radio. I search for that force, some call it God, others call it life energy. Who really knows what it is? Does the bird know, or the leaf that falls to the ground? Do sun and stars know, or only the moon? The force worshipped, but not respected. I travel these lonely streets, the copper lights shine down, all is silent. Where is God? Time passes. Driving along the highway at 65, my headlights show the empty road. White dashes pass me in Morse code. Going toward the mountains to talk with the old man. Asking, who is God? Toward sky I raise my hands. High atop the notch, through the years he waits for the one with the question. But finding out upon arrival, he faded. Into the dream of the wandering minstrel and the traveling bard, it is known. The rain that falls mirrors that depression, the depression deep within, that is a longing for something. The longing for a place, a time, a feeling, the longing that is known but not understood. In silence, I think, looking up. Looking up toward the memory of the old man who watched over us during our times of need. I head back on the highway, not knowing where to go next, in silence and in thought. That poem, the old man that I speak of in that poem, because over here in New Hampshire we have the old man of the mountains, and it's pretty much just rocks layered upon each other that when you look at the profile of this, it looks like an old man. And that's where we get the old man of the mountain. But a while back, in this millennia, we had a massive rainstorm, and the rain got in the cracks, and the rocks came down. They have had people trying to keep the mountain from falling, keep the profile from falling, because that's a symbol for us. Now, when you go up to the White Mountains, you can still see the old man of the mountain. But there's a artist who made this art out of metal. And when you stand at a certain distance, depending upon your height, and you look up at this stick of metal sticking from the ground, and you look up, you can still see the profile of the old man. The old man is still with us in spirit. And I shall end this with, this is a poem I wrote this year. Actually, I wrote it a little while ago. I started it this month, and I finished it before you're hearing it here. It's a short poem. It's entitled In Summer. And again, just focus on my words. Let soul speak to you. Let my words be the keys so soul can speak to you what it wants to say, because soul is always trying to talk to us through our life, through our experiences, both good and bad. Of course, good and bad, they're kind of relative terms for what is good experience and what is a bad experience. A bad experience could be good, and a good experience could be bad. Anyways, here's a poem. It's entitled In Summer. The time of year we go to the mountains, the beach, and the lakes. We vacation to enjoy our family, friends, and life. From hiking to sailing, we become tourists and play the part of the visitor. We spend money to entertain ourselves in creative ways. And in those summer nights, we gather where we gather, telling stories of our days, sharing the moments of our adventures in summer. Hope you enjoyed this show. It was my honor to do this show for you. It's my honor to work with soul through my writing to help others achieve the highest that they can achieve. Because we all have such potential in each of us. Don't dwell on the emotion, because the emotions can tear you apart. Don't even draw on the mind, because the mind too can tear you apart. Dwell on the silences within the moment, and focus on the spirit, on the spiritual, because after all, that is the true reality. Have a good week. Stay creative. in the magic of life. I thank you. If you like this piece, you can check out more of my writings over at robertg.blogspot.com. Or if you want to purchase some of my books, you can go to robertgparent.blogspot.com. There you'll find the links to my Amazon books. And as always, thank you for listening. Stay creative in the magic of life. Good day.
Just when you think you know something, you have to look at it in another way. Even though it may seem silly or wrong, you must try. Now, when you read, don't just consider what the author thinks. Consider what you think. Boys, you must strive to find your own voice. Because the longer you wait to begin, the less likely you are to find it at all. Thoreau said most men lead lives of quiet desperation. Don't be resigned to that.